I'm Vicki. It's my husband Kenny, and we've been visiting here for about 3 months. And Randy's given me 10 minutes to do a 2.5 hour at the least presentation. So I narrowed it down, and I'm just going to introduce you to a family. And I have thought and thought and thought how to introduce this family, and I finally came up with the term God family. I went on a mission trip in 2007 to Uganda, and I met this awesome person, and the mission team was told, do not get attached to your pastor, guide, interpreter. Well, met him on Monday, and by Tuesday, God was telling me something entirely different. So I did not give him my email address. I took his. And I came home, and I talked to Kenny. I cried. David cried when I left. And Kenny had to put up with me for about 3 weeks before I finally emailed my David. This is our first morning on the trail. I was, needless to say, a blithering idiot. When I got to Uganda and we were in the church and they introduced everyone to their interpreters, I was going, I raised my hand and said, here I am, Lord. And then I'm going, here I am, Lord.
Uh-oh.
I need to go home now. Well, we stepped off of the porch step, and David's by my side, and I'm going, I can do this. I am ready. So we took off, and that's what most of our trails look like for 6 hours a day. This is my David. There were other Davids. You can have a David. This one's mine. He is awesome. This is what the trails looked like when we left. Everybody split up, just like the Bible says. We went 2 by 2. This is David's oldest daughter, Frida. She's our future doctor. She's 19. This is Fiona of the beautiful smile. She's 15. This is Joshua. He was 1.5 years when I made him. He is the next leader. This is Vicki Eileen meeting Vicki Eileen for the first time.
Well, she can't see this light with the light on.
That was awesome. That was awesome. This is Vicki Eileen, no longer a baby, but growing into a woman of God. This is Ruthie Eileen. Ruthie Eileen is named after my mother. This is Sherry Beth, and she is named after my 2 sisters. David has pastored me, mentored me, ministered to me through the sickness and the death of my oldest sister, Beth, my daddy, Alvin, and my middle sister, Sherry. At my sister Sherry's funeral service, David called from Uganda, and I put him on speakerphone, on the microphone, and he prayed with the family. This
Click
is
on
Emma.
Her. Click on her. Click on the picture.
She and her daughters and friends
Wait, stop.
made these beads and sent them to us.
Okay, click on it.
And she has a message for you.
I would like to say thank you so much for every effort and every coin, every dollar that you put in to buy the African beads. You're going to get more about the African beads in the history of how the beads came about. And I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you for supporting my family. Thank you for putting a roof over my head and my family. Thank you so much.
Man.
She and David got married 4 years ago, and they have been in several houses, and for one reason or another have had to move because the landlord has sold the property or rented it out to someone else. David, as a pastor, we have 3 churches. That will be another program that I'm going to hopefully get to do, and I will show you some of his messages with video and some of the churches as they have grown and multiplied. Our first church was had to move because of some strife, and the congregation asked David to move with them, and he did, and they were meeting under a tree, and then Kenny and I provided them a tent, and from that point we have grown to 3 churches in 3 different towns, and David has a congregation combined of 1,000 people, and they don't count children, which are many. And
Hallelujah.
so he doesn't get a paycheck. His pay comes from our 3 cows, and recently we had a calf, and it was another boy.
Huh.
So that wasn't good. We need to find a different vet that so we can have girl calves. But we do have the 3 cows, and we have raised money from fundraisers to manage to buy those cows. But that is his income, is the milk from those cows. We have some hens right now that he's raising for meat hens, and we have 5 piglets, and the 2 boys are going to be going to market in a couple of weeks to get enough money to finish paying for the female pigs to be bred to raise some more pigs. And I'm glad I don't have that job because I don't like pigs. And pigs and snake is not this vet tech's thing. So Emma is trying to do her best. She has a degree in school management, and it's very, very hard to get work over there. No school is free. There is no free education. David is paying for, right now, 5 of his children to go to school, and Emma did get a part-time job just this last month, so we're very grateful and prayerful for that. So she is bringing in a little income, but it's very hard on what David makes from the milk to pay for education and housing. So they are wanting and praying for a home of their own. They need $15,000 to buy a home. Down payment is $5,000. So we're selling these beads. They're not all handmade beads because there are some glass beads, but they are all hand put together. So if you like jewelry, or you know someone that likes jewelry, and if you don't wear jewelry, if you want to make a donation, I take that too. I take cash and I'll take checks, and if you want to put one on layaway and pick it up later when you can get the money, I'll do that. But please find it in your heart to help with whatever you can. They're awesome. They're very light. I'm surprised at how light these are. So if you can help, we would all appreciate it. This was one of our dreams come true. Our churches over there are very far apart. And some of these dirt roads out here, I'm sure you can understand how rough the roads may be, but if you put 487 vehicles on one of those little dirt roads going both directions, then you will understand the traffic on a Uganda road. And if you put 372 of those as motorcycles going in and out of that traffic, you will understand even more. But we had a sweet young spirit at one of our other churches that bought David this motorcycle. And so instead of it taking 4 hours for him to go to one church and 2.5 hours for him to go to the other church, he can now get to one church in 40 minutes, and to the land that we have where our third church is, it takes him 15 minutes to get to the third church. So needless to say, I thought he was going to break his face by smiling when he got this motorcycle. So I think I've used my 10 minutes. If y'all want to stick around, I'll talk for another 3 hours and tell you more of what we're doing. But we do have 1,000 things going on over there. So if you want to hear more, come back on another Sunday,
Yeah.
and I will be glad to talk.